Who's that coming down the street? Who's that coming to meet me? Is that two Hexy mamas? Yeah, that was
diaphragm, so you just stick it up there. Are you recording? That's cool. You just stick it up there and you can like have sex on it, like with it and everything. Because it's just like a disc with like plastic that collects everything, and then when you're at the end of the day you just take it out and throw it away. So it's like a cup.
Yeah, that's still something that you have to spend money to like keep buying.
That's why I wouldn't buy it.
Right.
I thought it was something that you could.
Oh, okay.
I thought it was something you could reuse.
Yeah, I like the reusable matter of it.
So once I found that out, I was like, "Fuck that, dude."
I'm gonna look into it and see if there's.
There is cheaper options,
right?
And sometimes some companies have just pay shipping, but you have to wait a really long time, like 2 months. But for paying $10,
yeah, it might be worth it.
It might be worth it for you. So I don't know. You should check it out, though. We're talking about Diva Cups.
What about periods?
Because I feel like majority of our listeners are women,
right? And the reason why we're talking about it is because I've been on birth control. I was in the next. Ow! I just hit my arm. I was on Nexplanon, which is the insert in your arm, which made me have a blissful 3 years of no periods. And then I didn't have a period when I was pregnant with my son, obviously. So I haven't had a period in 4 years. And it was the most beautiful time of my life.
That's what I love about being pregnant is no periods.
Listen, and so, the karma was a bitch because my Nexplanon wore out at the end of December / beginning of January, and I started my very first period in 4 years on Christmas morning, and I thought I was dying. I legit was laying on the couch, and Dylan's mom was like, "Are you okay?" And I was like, "I'm really not. Like, I'm
probably
not.
not used to the pain anymore."
One, I never had cramps. I just said, like, I've never had cramps before.
My first cycles after both girls were born were the worst.
I had a lot of bleeding after I had Killian, but that's because I had a C-section. So I had a lot.
You bleed when you...
Have it natural too?
Yeah.
Okay, well, I bled a lot.
You have to wear diaper. Like, you basically have to wear diapers.
Which were very comfortable underwear.
You can't do any of that.
I couldn't put a tampon in for a long time.
You're not supposed to. You're supposed to... Because if you think about it... When you have your period, it's your uterus shedding.
Yeah.
You had a baby living in that
so it's shedding the shit.
Right. So
you're
not supposed to... You're supposed to have it's technically a long-ass cycle.
It was...
It's like a 6-week cycle. Oh my god, that guy scared me.
What guy?
Some guy carrying like 10...
Oh, because their driveway is up on the hill, yeah.
I don't know. Like, what the fuck are you doing, dude? Okay, whatever. But yeah, you have... You just basically have a big cycle. And
mine didn't last 6 weeks. It lasted like...
Mine lasted a month.
Because I got my Nexplanon in like the end of January, and I had already stopped.
Some last for 2 weeks, some last for 4.
I think mine probably lasted like 1 to 2 weeks.
Mine lasted for about 4 weeks. Because do you do this, or have you ever, when you have your period, you have it for like 2 days, and then you stop completely? And then I'll have mine for 2 days, which is, I'm a heavy bleeder. So this is TMI. I don't even care. If you don't like talking about periods,
skip forward.
Honestly, like, if you're a guy, you have a mom, you have a sister, you have an aunt, you have somebody,
wife.
a girlfriend, whatever, best friend, you have somebody in your life who has periods.
You should know what it's like.
Honestly, it's not gross, like, fuck off.
It is what it is.
But mine, I'll have really heavy days, 2 heavy days, and then the 3rd, 4th day, I don't do anything. There's no bleeding, no spotting,
really? Oh, see,
nothing.
No. Mine's the opposite, where I'll have, like... It, like, doesn't bleed a lot, but it's enough to, like, if I didn't put anything in, it would, like, ruin my underwear.
I will fill up my cup.
Well, I don't know. I've never had the cup yet, so...
I would 100%, and I wouldn't, like, just... You know me, I'm not gonna be like, oh my god, you totally need it if you don't fucking need it.
Yeah.
I think you should get it.
I want to. Like I said, it's just a matter of that it's $40-something.
I would look into other options, because, like, a cup is a cup.
know, like, some of them you have to get a different one depending on if you've given birth or not.
Okay, so the one that I have, it comes with 2. One is for if you haven't had a kid, and the other one is for if you've had a kid.
Yeah.
I tried to use the one if you've had children before.
And it didn't work.
It was the most painful.
Yeah, were you telling me that?
Getting it in there and getting it situated, everything, and I tried it a few different times. It's the same result every single time. I remember the first time I used it, I bent down to fix a rug. Like, this was an hour after I put it in. So it was already situated. I couldn't feel it anymore. Cool. We're friends now down there. Like,
friends now.
I bent down to fix a rug, and I froze.
Oh, no.
Because...
It hurt so bad.
It hurt so bad. Like, it was like I was having a contraction.
That's how bad my cramps were on Christmas,
and
man.
it was the type of contraction where you are 9 centimeters, and
I wouldn't know what that's like.
You have to brace yourself.
Oh, shit.
And breathe until it passes. But it didn't pass.
Oh, God. Did you just, like, waddle over to the bathroom?
To waddle to the bathroom. Yep. And when you take this cup out, you kind of have to, like, push a little bit to reach to get where it's at. Yeah. And break the seal. And I was like, fuck you, we ain't playing this game. So I used the smaller one.
Yeah, and it works.
Sometimes I don't even feel like I'm on my period except for the cramps. And I swear to you, because, like, I feel icky when I'm on my period.
I do too.
I'm like, bleh. I feel gross. Don't touch me. Don't look at me. And it's worse because I feel like my husband wants to be, like, more like, lovey-dovey.
It's because you're giving off.
Right. And I kind of just want to, like, elbow him to the nose, or like
you do feel gross.
Punch him in his sack.
It's not a great feeling.
It just sucks. Okay, so I feel like this is a segue to our topic today, which is methods of torture,
which a woman deals with every month.
But I do want to talk about, so when we were, well, here we can open up.
Sorry, my name is Korina, and this is Hexy Mamas. This is Jessica. This is Hexy Mamas, where we talk about spooky shit. And today we're talking about torture and execution methods. And we'll get into that in a second, but that was a good segue.
Yeah. When I was looking up these topics, I find most of my research through YouTube. I think it's just because I'm I'm not a YouTuber, but I love YouTube.
Yeah.
And I was watching this one guy, and he was like, top 25 methods of torture. I was like, hell yeah, I'm going to get all my topics in one video. This is going to be great. And his first opening, his first thing was squats. And I was like,
that would be torture
motherfucker.
To me.
But apparently, like, it is, because, like, if you think about it, if you do wall squats.
Oh, dude. Forget it.
He was talking about how, like, sometimes you do wall sits, but sometimes you would just stand up on your tiptoes. Like, so you don't put your heel down, you just do your tiptoes.
Ooh.
How painful is that?
Very.
And then another one was like, I think he said it was an FBI-approved method of torture, which was the cold room, which is basically like a room of air conditioners, and you just stand in front of an air conditioner.
That would be a lot after a while.
Another one was a white room.
Oh, yeah, I've heard that one.
All sensory, like, your food is white, so just like rice. You just eat rice. So food, your clothes,
forget
the whole room,
that would be
everything is white. I was like, bitch. But what if it's aesthetically pleasing to you?
Some people like that. That's why I paint every wall in my house, because I can't. Like, the white is just bothers me.
What do you do?
We did. Okay, so before we get into that, really quickly, we had a friend on Instagram send us a video a picture.
Oh my god, you scared me.
A picture where she sees an apparition in the picture, and she sent us the picture to see if we see it, and Dylan made sure she did not tell us where she sees it, so that we could see it without her. Her name on Instagram is Hair with Anna.
Anna!
Yes. So here's the picture. Let's look at it really quickly.
Here, you look at... I can't bend over because my neck...
I have to... it won't let me...
Zoom in?
Yeah. Which I guess... Okay, no, I saved it. Let me go back into my pictures now.
I also feel like we should talk about the orb thing. The whole orb debacle. I feel like orbs can be spiritual energies, but they are easily debunked
for sure,
being just like dust particles or bugs. But I feel like they could totally, like, there's been studies that I have watched that they are.
I think I see something in this picture.
Is it scary?
I don't want to say no, because if I didn't go looking for something, I would have never seen it. But I don't even know if I'm seeing what I think she's seeing, or if I'm seeing something totally different.
Are you talking about what's on the edge?
Let me see. Zoom into what you're...
This right here.
No.
Are you sure?
Well, that might be what she's talking about, but that's not what I saw.
Because look at the face.
Where?
There's a skull right there, Korina.
Where?
Korina. How do you work your phone? Oh, I can just keep doing this.
Where?
Korina, right there.
don't see a skull.
Are you high?
Oh shit, yeah I do. Okay, that's definitely not what I saw. Okay, Anna.
I know my ghosts.
Send us a message on Instagram and tell us if we're right, if it's the very edge of the picture right by the big
side.
bright light. Dylan's gonna post this on Instagram so that you can see it. That's not what I saw. Can I tell you that I see this? Doesn't that look like a person standing in front of the tree? Like that's their head and their face down here. God damn it, phone.
I don't see what
Look,
you're talking about.
Like this is their face right here, and that's their body, like down there. Do you see what I'm saying now?
I don't see it though. I see
it.
I just see this ghosty right here.
You see, I didn't see that.
I see you, ghosty.
We'll post it on Instagram so you guys can see what you see. Because now that you've said it, I can see what you're saying.
That's 100%.
Because that's not an orb. That's definitely just like a
manifestation.
Yeah.
That's 100% a ghosty. That's a full face, Corn.
Listen.
That's a full face.
Listen. Okay, so are you ready to get into this?
Yeah, can I go first this time?
Yeah.
Mine are kind of.
Do you want to switch off? Because we did 5 each. So you
we can do
one.
that.
Yeah.
So my first method
we picked 5 methods of torture each.
Yeah. My first method was sawing. And I know you kind of think like, oh, you're just going to saw it in half. This is a different kind of sawing.
Oh, okay.
So sawing was a style of punishment which was popular in the medieval Europe as well as some Asian countries. This presents itself as an extremely simple and cheap method of killing a victim accused of witchcraft, adultery, murder, blasphemy, or even theft. In the Roman Empire, they sawed their victims in half horizontally. The more inventive Chinese decided to hang offenders vertically by their feet.
Ooh.
Between 2 stakes which had been driven into the ground. Such situations allowed the body to remain awake during the road. I think I misspelled this.
It's okay. I do that all the time.
During the event.
Okay.
It says roacher. I type while not looking. So
yes.
Even conserving blood loss due to the constant inflow to the brain. So blood is just being rushed to the brain, so you're alive while you're sawing in half. A man could stay alive until the saw reached his waist level or sometimes chest. Due to the method's simplicity and the unpretentious nature of the execution, death by sawing was widespread during the time of the Inquisition. It was often employed on witches and sexual minorities. Yeah, I spelled that wrong again. And getting those Inquisition to talk. Why can I spell Inquisition and executioners, but we're not going to talk about it. Could force him to watch as he was slowly and painfully being sawed into pieces. So they would stick a mirror or something in front of him and watch him. But there's apparently a vital, okay.
My dogs are losing their shit.
There's obviously there's vital organs. But once you hit, I think there's also an artery somewhere in your stomach. Once you hit a certain part, they would just bleed to death.
I know there is one because when you get a C-section, it's that's why it's as low as it is too. It's because there's that's what I heard at least.
Yeah.
Okay, so the very first one I did is something called the Blood Eagle, and apparently this was talked about in the show The Vikings.
Is that with what's his name in it?
No, I don't watch the show, so I couldn't tell you. But it was talked about in the show, but it is not a necessarily fictionalized thing. It is something that there is one documented case of this happening to 2 people.
What?
So it wasn't a widespread thing. Okay, so the Blood Eagle is a detailed in skaldic poetry in Norse literature. 2 instances of the Blood Eagle were mentioned. The victim is placed in a prone position, so from what I understand, like on your stomach, on your knees. So
on your stomach, on your knees.
So kind of like doggy style without your propping up of your hand.
So your face.
Yeah. Remember we talked about that sex position prone bone?
Okay.
I'm just making sure you understand what I'm saying. After that, after they lay down like that, their ribs are then severed from their spine with a sharp tool and then snapped and forcibly bent backwards. So if this is their ribs and between my fingers is their spine, they do this. So it almost looks like wings. The Blood Eagle. It looks like, so they make their ribs come out of their back to look like wings.
I feel like that would take a lot of force, though.
Absolutely.
Jesus.
After that, their lungs are then pulled out through the opening to create the illusion of wings.
But surely, after their ribs are being ripped from their body, they're gone anyways.
No.
Even if not shock would set in.
Well, shock for sure.
And then blood loss.
But they're not dead though, because then the lungs were coated with a stinging salt. So that after all that, the cause of death is not from blood or anything; it's from suffocation.
Damn, you've had to do something really bad to...
Yeah. So there is debate on whether or not this ritual truly existed or is a literary invention.
There's a lot of that.
Yeah, I found that a lot in my stuff, too. But it is believed that it is a human sacrifice to the Norse god Odin.
Woo!
So that's the blood eagle. Okay, your turn.
Mine is called the Pear of Anguish.
Ooh. Oh, I've heard of this one. I've heard of this one.
Consisting of a metal body, usually pear-shaped, divided into spoon-like segments that could be operated by turning a screw. So think of like
Is it kind of like when you are like dyeing eggs and it's like it looks like a pair of tongs, but it's like this instead? Like, yes, that's what I thought.
Often used in conjunction with the interrogation of witches and heretics. I found...
They be real mean to witches.
It was designed to break the most sensitive of organs. Using the pear as a punishment was considered more severe since before it is applied, it is heated.
Ooh.
Then injected into the mouth, anus, or vagina.
Yep.
When the screw is tightened, the pear segments were released to allow for maximum carnage.
So it's almost like the thing that they stick in your vagina during
what is it called?
OB. What is that called? The thing that looks like duck. They call it like a duck. It almost looks like duck bill when they stick in your vagina to open your vagina.
I feel like it's on the tip of my tongue.
It's like a more intense version of that.
It's a very this
like forceps?
It's very large.
Yeah.
It's like as big as your cup, if
Holy
not bigger.
Shit.
So it wouldn't
this
just go
is a venti from Starbucks.
It wouldn't just go in your lady orgasm parts. It goes all the way down. And imagine if it was in your anus. This isn't fun butt play.
No fun butt play.
This is something.
Damn.
So victims of this device could die very quickly from blood loss and painful shock. So I feel like it wasn't just like a slow stretching. It was like a
bam.
Yeah.
Ugh. All right. So my next one is the Roman candle. And yes, this is what your firework is named after.
Okay.
Yeah. Nero, the ruler of Rome, was very well known for being like an extremely cruel leader. Some even say he was a psychopath, or probably closer to a sociopath from this story alone. He hated Christians and decided to have a bit of fun with them.
Damn.
He would use the bodies of these Christians as human candles to light his garden. They were tied or nailed to stakes, and boiling flammable substance was then poured over their heads, and they were set ablaze. They would burn from the feet up. Nero would line them outside to provide lighting for his special evening events. So he would basically line them in a line down a pathway. Ugh. And so when they would have garden parties,
were they were alive?
Oh yeah, they're alive. I mean, like I said again, with earlier, shock would eventually get them, but they would literally have garden parties where the only light in these nighttime parties were these humans.
Did you ever watch Game of Thrones?
I watched some of it, yeah.
There was an incident where, what's her name? The Mother of Dragons?
Cersei. Daenerys.
Yeah.
Oh, I know what you're talking about.
Her brother tries to come in and be a thing, and Khal Drogo pours the oil.
I did see that part.
Oil, the metal on his head.
Gold, isn't it gold?
It was gold.
He gives him
his crown. Yep. I was like,
that was intense. I remember that now.
Why? People were love goals, but I was kinda not. In
that time period, yeah. I could see that because
people are it was rape, but I'm it definitely was, but this is.
Him and his sister? I thought you meant him and her and Drogo.
Yes, people were saying it was basically rape.
I don't agree with that, but
she was forced into the marriage.
Oh yeah, forced into the marriage, but that happened all the time.
That's true, but it's one of those things where you want to be torn.
He loved her
because they learned to love each other. Right. So you're kind of but
yeah, I can see that.
But I don't know, kind of. Totally.
Also, he's very hot, so that helps.
Listen, we're not going to talk about that.
So, if he was ugly, maybe a different story. That's horrible. But the fact that he's very beautiful does make it easier. And she's also very beautiful.
Yes.
And now for a commercial. Anyway. Okay, your turn. It's me, listen.
Oh my god, I was like, I don't want
It's me scratching the couch.
So my next, I think it's pronounced strappado.
Strappado?
The strappado, also known as corda, is a form of torture wherein the victim's hands are tied behind his or her back and suspended by a rope attached to the wrists, typically resulting in dislocated shoulders.
Ooh.
Weights may be added to the body to intensify the effect and increase the pain. This kind of torture would generally not last more than an hour without rest, as it would likely result in death. Other names for strappado include reverse hanging, Palestinian hanging, because of its alleged use by Israel against Palestinians, and tormento della corda.
Dylan's going to freak out when he hears that because Dylan has his shoulders dislocate all the time.
Ew.
So that's going to freak him out when he hears it.
So what they did was they tied your hands this way.
Yeah.
They tied your hands this way and then they hung you. So your hands,
that's gotta hurt.
Your hands went this way.
Fucking bad.
What else? Obviously it causes permanent damage.
Oh god, for sure.
And I was reading that sometimes if the executioner, or not executioner, the person who did the torture was extra cruel, he would slowly, he would lower you down fast and then stop you, so your body would jerk. Yep.
That's gotta hurt. Okay. So this one is not necessarily the most painful when you think about it, but it is the most inventive I have ever heard.
I already knew about one of the ones that you did.
Is it this one's
the
scaphism?
Oh.
Yes, this is it.
Scaphism? The
It's
diarrhea
called-
one?
Yes.
The diarrhea boat?
Yes. So it's called scaphism. I don't know if I'm saying that right, but anyway, it originated in ancient Persia, and the word means anything scooped out in Greek. The victim was trapped between two boats or canoes, so basically they would make like a pod out of these two canoes, with their head and legs protruding. The effect was that it sealed their body in a wooden box, basically.
You were basically like a life-size Oompa Loompa.
Basically, yeah. Your head and your legs were out, but like your body was in like this box that was the two canoes kind of on top of each other.
What's in the box?
So then they were forcibly fed honey milk until their bowels were, quote, ready to scatter violently. I don't know.
You would think honey milk. You're like, that kind of sounds a little good.
It sounds delicious, but probably
But they were
not.
force fed.
Yeah, they were force fed until like they could not eat anymore.
Right.
And then when they were done, I wrote the remaining honey, but the remaining honey. With the remaining honey, they would take their body and like rub it in sensitive areas,
like your crotch
and your face. Then
and the bottom
sufferer,
of your feet.
Yeah, the bottom of your feet for sure. The sufferer would then either float on a stagnant pond or they would just leave him in the sun. So the effect of this is that their bowels would release. Obviously, you eat so much food, you have diarrhea, or you wet yourself, you shit yourself, basically. And the person would be stuck in a box with their own excrement, allowing for insects and vermin to breed in their excrement and then feed on the living flesh inside. Gangrene would set in and start to interrupt the blood flow, and they would repeat. So they would come back every day and force feed them more and more and more. And here's the thing, though: honey and milk are actually fairly nutritious, so they would stay alive for the whole time.
Nutritious unless you're lactose intolerant.
Exactly, but it would keep them from starving, though,
right.
essentially. So they would die from septic shock.
Yeah.
And that's a long thing to, like...
I also hear septic is extremely painful.
Extremely. And then they would be basically eaten from the inside out by the vermin and the insects. But the milk and honey were enough nutrients to live, so a person would live up to 14 days.
I'm glad we kind of don't...
That was pretty inventive of them. Sad, but inventive. Your turn.
My next one is lingqi. Lingqi. The process involved tying the condemned prisoner to a wooden frame, usually in a public place.
Of course, they like to do it in public.
The flesh was then cut from the body in multiple slices.
I do know that, yeah.
In a process that was not specified in detail in Chinese law, and therefore most likely varied. So it wasn't like a first your ears, then your nose. It was like whoever's the executioner can do whatever
here's the instrument to use.
Right.
It was like, just do whatever.
The punishment worked on 3 levels: as a form of public humiliation, as a slow and lingering death, and as a punishment after death. Which, this is what I thought was the most fucked up about this one. Like, this one's, like, not that kind of, like, crazy.
I was gonna say, it sucks,
What's fucked up, like, for this part is because, according to the Confucian principle of philal piti, to alter one's body or to cut the body are considered unfilial. It's considered not good, like, religiously.
So basically, they're hurting them, and then they believe that they can't
enter the afterlife if your body is not whole.
So they're basically keeping them from the afterlife.
Yeah, that's
their beliefs.
I have this whole thing. I'm not even going to read it because
that's really sad.
Basically, if you did something wrong, they tie you to a wooden stake, much as if you were a witch being burned at the stake. They'd start with your ears. Most of it was used to try to get something out of you, and if they weren't trying to get something out of you, they were just torturing you.
Right.
So they would start with your ears or a finger.
Something that's not like
something
you
is
could
not
lose.
as big. Then they would move on to legs, arms, feet, hands, whatever.
And that's sad too, because if like they gave the information, they still couldn't get into the afterlife even if they survived.
Right.
That is sad.
The last, like, hurrah would be like a stab to the heart.
Right.
But their belief is you cannot enter the afterlife unless your body is whole.
So it's like a psychological thing more than it is a physical thing.
And the fact that it was like a public thing.
Like, your whole family, friends all get to see you not.
Right.
Like, that's sad.
So not like, oh, well, I'll see them again one day.
They won't.
You won't.
That's
It's
sad.
fucked up.
Okay. So another one of mine is the brazen bull.
This was about this one too.
Yeah, this one I did know about, but I didn't know.
Didn't we learn about this in high school?
Potentially, it was fairly common. But this one, there was more.
Like we did.
There was more into it than I had realized. Just like there's like little like sadistic things.
You mean like the creator? What they made him do?
What?
The creator of the brazen bull? What they made him do?
I don't know what that story is.
You don't?
No.
They made him. They didn't believe I think it was whoever was in charge, like a king or something. They were like, "Well, show me how it works." They put him inside.
Shit.
And they wanted to hear the bull.
Okay, yeah, because that's what I was gonna say. That's kind of the sadistic. Okay, that I didn't know that story though.
They made him do it, and they got him out when they heard it. But he was like
burnt. Okay,
I don't think he died, but he probably died after. But he was burned everywhere.
Oh shit. Okay, so this is an execution style or device designed by ancient Greece. It was a life-size bull statue, which is a bull's fairly big, made entirely of bronze, and was crafted for this torture. The bull was hollow and had a trap door. The victim would be locked inside the bull, and a fire would be set underneath it, so they would be able to feel the metal slowly heating up and like coming up its legs and up its body. The bull. This is the part that I said was. Oh, sorry. The bronze would heat up until the prisoner was basically roasted to death. The thing that I was saying that was kind of sadistic is that the bull was built to have this acoustic item inside of it that it converted the screams of the victim to the sound of the bull. So that's what you're saying is they would wait till the guy screamed enough to hear the bull sound.
I know. So no, just the creator. They waited because they wanted to see if it worked.
Yeah,
and then they took him out because he wasn't he wasn't an offender.
So he did
was
something
just
for
being
them.
an asshole, basically.
Jesus.
But for other people,
Yeah, I
they
didn't know
obviously
that.
let them sit in there and roast.
And it's kind of like this other sadistic kind of part of it is that once the victim's body was charred, the scorched bones, which like we talked about in our last podcast, bones don't burn like that. They just take a lot longer. They, quote, shone like jewels and were made into bracelets and sold in the marketplaces.
Gross. I didn't know about
because
that.
apparently burned bones are very shiny and
That's really bad juju.
Dude.
The girls are learning about bad juju. I'm serious.
No, I don't blame you. I'm just saying.
I'll tell you a story about. I don't want to talk about it on here, but I'll tell you when we're done. I'll tell you.
Okay, go ahead. What's your next one?
My last one.
Yes, your last one.
Called the stork.
Ooh, I've never heard of this.
This one kind of makes me like. Ah.
Makes your coochie twinge.
Please don't say that.
It's right though, isn't it? When something is gross, you like tighten your cooch, or your butthole. Makes your butthole pucker. It's true though. Am I wrong?
I've had enough of you.
Am I wrong?
Okay, also known as the scavenger's daughter. This one isn't it. Where's my other one?
Did you lose one?
No, I forgot. So I did this I think I did this like 2 or 3 days ago. One of mine, I forget what it was called. It was where you sat. This is what I thought this was. You sat on this throne, and you were slowly lowered into it. But your butthole wasn't placed on this point. Was your perineum?
Yep.
And so as the weights got like
heavier,
yeah, you basically stretched out your whole insides. But that's not what this is. I remember what this is, and this one's uncomfortable. It's just I don't know. Okay, so also known as the Scavenger's Daughter, this instrument's origins should be accredited to the Roman Court of Holy Inquisition. The history of it is tied to the reign of Henry VIII.
Yes.
Yeah. This device was actively employed on prisoners of the Tower of London, especially those of noble and high-ranking positions in society. The operating principles of the device, so your neck and your, how they had it was like your neck and your hands and your ankles were all in fixation to each other. Mm-hmm. So you were, I can't do it with me.
Kind of like in the fetal, like an intense version of the fetal position.
This.
Oh, that's called hog tying, I think. I think that's it's close enough.
But you were in an extremely uncomfortable position for a long period of time. Visually, said instruments resembles stocks. The pain experienced by the inmate is significantly more intense. So it starts by It starts by like cramps in your stomach.
Oh, from sitting in that position.
And it ends in muscle spasms in the chest, neck, arms, and legs.
Just from sitting in that position?
Yeah,
dude.
Because of how your body is placed. Because there's no support for your neck, so it ties around your neck. It starts at your neck, then your hands, and then your ankles. So it's like you're constantly in a crunch position, but with no support to your neck.
Oh yeah.
Where was I? Moreover, in order to increase the torment, the torturers beat their victims with a whip or used a hot red iron.
Which would make them cringe and tighten things up, which I'm sure didn't help.
Sometimes the iron fetters, which were wrapped around the neck and limbs, dug into the flesh so harshly that any prolonged and unnecessary time spent in the device led to the development of gangrene and death.
It's like when a dog has a collar too tight or on too long. It's like that. Okay, so this is my last one. This was a pirate one.
I love pirates.
It's called keel hauling. So basically,
can I guess what it is?
Sure, go ahead.
Is it when Captain Hook put what's his name into the box?
No, it's not. I know what you're talking about.
Box.
To the boo box. Not to the boo box. No. Okay, so this is keel hauling. It was a form of punishment created by sailors out at sea and in the Dutch army. So it's like it was created by sailors.
What were you trying to say?
Pirates. It was created by sailors, but I believe pirates kind of
took it over
and used it more often. A sailor, the offending sailor, was tied to a line that is. This torture makes a lot more sense if you know parts of boats.
Oof.
But I'm going to give it to you in the simplest way I can.
Okay.
Was basically tied to a line that is looped under the ship. So he was like tied on one edge, and the rope would go under I think it was like tied up at the front, and the line would go underneath the whole ship.
Okay.
So then
what was the purpose of that?
Hold on. So then the person, once he's tied up, would be thrown overboard one side of the ship and then dragged under the ship's keel to the other side and then hoisted back up the other side. You would think that would make them drown. It doesn't, by the way. Spoiler alert, they do not drown. This was done when the ship was either anchored or moving. Moving was obviously worse because it would have the pressure of the ocean. The victim wasn't always killed. Sometimes they were thrown over for a period of time and then brought back up and then thrown over again. Like, they would hang them up on the mast and be like, ready for another one, and throw them back in. So they would just like hang up there.
Oh my God.
And the hull of the ship, so like the underneath the ship, is covered in barnacles and marine growth, which is sharp and gross too.
It's like coral.
Exactly.
Very sharp.
So when the body is dragged under, it would suffer from serious lacerations and completely strip their skin, basically.
Right.
So if they were brought back on board and let to go,
They're gonna die
they would
anyways,
die, basically, because they'd have infection and scarring and all this stuff. Head trauma was also a common occurrence, and sometimes whole limbs or heads were completely severed, just depending on how the ship was, what was underneath it, if the ship was moving.
This is giving me anxiety.
In some cases, the victim would also have an oil-soaked sponge containing a breath of life, or breath of air, stuffed into their mouth to prevent them from, quote, merciful drowning. So
for them drowning themselves?
It would keep them from being under the water and drowning. Like, the sponge would have air in it, like a little bit of air in it, just enough that, like, they could breathe.
That's rude.
Under the water and not drown, basically. Yeah. So they would
say that's rude, but the whole
thing is rude.
It's just rude.
It is believed that this is a common practice in pirate ships. Yes.
I have to pee, so that just made everything worse.
Pee
all
everywhere.
The water.
My form of torture would be being locked in a room with no toys and no television with 10 toddlers. 10 plus toddlers.
What my form of torture would be? So I have eczema. And I have really dry skin, and I cannot stand the feeling of, like, your skin being dry.
Oh, yeah. When it, like, snags on stuff?
What are you talking about?
Like, when your skin is dry and, like, you can feel it on other things? Yes.
So that is, I probably apply lotion to my entire body, probably, like, 2 to 3 times a day. And the same with chapstick. Like, I cannot stand anything being dry. And I feel like that's why I love summer so much, because my body, like, there's so much moisture in the air. My skin is just amazing in the summer, and it just fucking sucks in the winter. Because it's dry.
So dry outside.
So my worst torture would be having to take, like, a really hot shower and then not having any lotion, any oils, nothing, and just having to just put clothes on.
I do that all the time, though.
I can't. I don't have the luxury.
I
would just sit there and watch Jacob, like, get out of the shower, dry himself off, and put clothes on. I'm like, I fucking hate you.
I do that all the time.
I hate you. I can't. I don't have the luxury.
I put lotion on as a luxury. I'm like, I feel fancy today. Let's put lotion on.
Fun for you.
Well, you're gonna have great skin when you're older.
Me?
Yeah, because people who lotion have great, like, they don't wrinkle as much. I'm gonna be a withered up raisin.
We'll see.
Between the amount of tanning I did as a teenager. Ooh, that's a big that's a torture that I would be freaked the fuck out.
What?
Do you remember in the Final Fantasy movie where they get stuck in the tanning beds? Have you ever seen? Dude,
I don't tan that way.
I
don't
used
really
to.
tan at all.
I think that movie stopped me from tanning because I used to tan in a tanning bed when I was a teenager.
The health risk didn't stop you.
Listen, I got cancerous mole cut out of my body and still went to the tanning bed. I did not
have
care.
Issues.
I care now, but I did not care then.
No, I don't.
There's a lot of things I think could be used to torture me. I'm a very highly irritable person.
I'm trying to think of other things.
Things irritate me all the time.
Not like torture, like what we talked about, but just like
a massive annoyance.
Yeah. What else really annoys me?
A lot of things. As your friend, I can tell you a lot of things annoy you. Love ya. A lot of things.
What else really annoys me? Mr. Bean annoys me. If I had to sit in a room and watch his ass all day long, I would want to, like, kill myself. No offense to the actor, but it's just it's just so annoying.
Poor Mr. Bean.
I just can't. I can't do it.
Roman at something? His name's Roman something or Rowan something. Rowan? Doesn't matter. It's not important.
It's irrelevant.
It's not important. I don't know why I care so much. It's not important. Anyway.
I'm trying to... I just don't know. I just... I can't.
Tell us what you would be... Like, what would... Not necessarily execution, because that's sad to think about. Yeah. What would torture you? Like, what would be like, no! Yeah. Like, what would be
anything, please.
Anything but this. like water torture type, like...
the little droplets of water.
Dude. When I was a teenager, would be like, why is that torture? That sounds not that bad at all.
It's more of a mind fuck torture.
But then, like, I tried it once, like, where, like, I laid down and let, like, water, and I was like, ooh, fuck, I can see how this would be horrible. Yeah. Like, especially if you're, like, tied down and cannot make the...
Right.
You know, like, I was like, oh, shit, I can see how this is bad. Anyway, so send us, when we post a little Instagram post about like, hey, this is our new episode, comment down below and be like, this is what would be torture to me. Like mine would be being in a room full of children with nothing to entertain them, because I swear the only children I only like 5 children in this world, one of which is mine. So just
Hurry, I have to pee.
I'm gonna go really slow. No,
I
just kidding.
believe you, and you know I will.
If
Leave
you
you by yourself.
have ow, I scratched myself. Ow, I scratched my own face.
She literally.
How
did you do that?
Ow, I don't know. I have no.
I'm gonna pee on this couch.
Okay, sorry. If you want to send us your own ghost stories so we can do a mini episode, send it to hexymamas@gmail.com.
We're waiting.
If you want to follow us on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. All of it is 2 Hexy Mamas. Except for the email, which is just hexymamas@gmail.com, apparently.
Korina's been telling you the entire... So I would get shit for being like, don't say AOL.com, but you've been saying the wrong fucking email address this entire time.
For a year, I've been saying the wrong email. Anyway.
I want redemption.
Sure. If you want to help us out and be really, really super cool, leave us a review. Keep it Hexy, and have a great rest of your day. Bye.
Goodbye.
Let me call Dylan.
I'm peeing.